Shit.
Okay, recording.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jodo cast, where we're talking today about Atomic Mass Games' upcoming MiniStravaganza, and they actually gave us information ahead of time this time. Well, last MiniStravaganza was March? February? April?
Yes.
This
The
last...
springtime.
Was it this year? Or last year?
Yeah, it
It's all the
it was
same
this
year.
year. It is.
In any case, it was a while ago, but not that long ago, depending on how you perceive time. Um, Basically, their little like atomic mass games news and announcements event that lasts multiple days. And they released a schedule, and we're just gonna look at it, the things that apply to us Star Wars folk, and talk about what it might imply, what it's gonna be, should you care. That's what we, the news media, are for. We tell you what you're supposed to care about and how you're supposed to feel. Don't do any of that for yourselves. Right? That's how this works?
That's what you've always told me.
I think that's what they told us when we signed up to be journalists. They're like, okay, don't tell the public, but...
That was part of the agreement with getting those sweet insider information tracks from FFG.
Well,
All those things that we were promised.
Back when we were initiated as journalists and they gave us those little trilbies with like the note cards sticking out, and they said, okay, this gives you the power to manipulate the masses and twist minds.
You got a press pass for Gen Con, right, Evan?
Oh yes.
Can you please wear like one of those hats to Gen Con?
Get like a... I wonder if there's like a cell phone attachment that's basically like an old-timey flash bulb.
Uh-huh.
You can go around and take
I
pictures like that.
There probably is. They'll be like, "Who are you cosplaying?" A member of the press, kid. How you doing?
What's this about Star Wars?
Tell me about the Star Wars thing you got going on. Is that really Wars in the Stars? That's crazy talk.
I really hope we can figure out your video thing one day, Evan.
Yeah, it's desync again.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? That's my fault. We're gonna carry on, because
So you guys don't really know this, but he's actually like this in real life. He's actually always just slightly out of sync with everybody else.
Yeah, his mouth starts moving and then the audio comes later. It's wild to witness in person. You don't have to
driving me
pretend.
nuts. Don't I? Okay. It's working by itself. Terrific.
Yeah.
I love it.
What if that was your superpower? Like, your voice and, like, your emotions are just slightly off sync. Like, it's unexplainable by science. It's a superpower. You got it because you were in some kind of, like, speaker accident. But there's no applicable use to it.
So I'd be like the opposite of the mutant sync. I would be constantly out of sync. Whatever someone can do, I can do the opposite. If someone can talk normally, I can't.
Maybe it applies to more than just your voice. Like, someone tosses you a ball and is like, catch, and like you catch it before it even gets there, so it just hits you in the face. It was a little bit too soon.
Catch it with my face.
Anyway.
Anyways.
September 9th is the opening ceremony. Well, let's walk through it and we'll skip over the Marvel stuff. How about that?
I mean, we can certainly say at 9:30 Pacific, Marvel stuff. Moving on.
Okay, well, it starts at 9 Pacific on the 9th. Simone, Elliott, and Will Schick are just saying, like, hey, we're starting. Okay. And then I presume they will play this current video of us explaining the rest of the events of...
Probably. So they say
I
that
mean, they got to.
they're going to invite. They say we're going to invite you to join our global campaigns, which I assume are going to be basically like the little miniature or like the little campaigns that they had over the weekend last time, where it was just
Didn't they announce some of that for Marvel already? Some sort of like campaign that so you can actually because last time they were like, hey, choose this, go for it. And we were like, you gave us 0 prep time. Like, I need to like make sure I can call and play with my friends. And at the time, we weren't playing with people.
Yeah.
At least this time, hopefully, there's a little bit more lead time.
Let's see. Let's
Even in
see.
normal times, you need like
it was something to do with
Magic stuff.
with Doctor Strange, wasn't it?
oh yeah,
Yes, it
prepare to
is.
deal with mages during the Marvel Crisis Protocol global event at MiniStravaganza. You'll face a new crisis with a threat. Blah blah blah. Each of the 3 days, so they're going to be throwing out like custom scenarios each day.
Yeah, so they basically just mentioned that it's going to exist, but they haven't given any more details.
Well, that's fine. At least it's something, because now we could maybe assume there's something for Legion, so you might want to clear your schedule for those days and find a friend to play Legion with and be like, hey, because I think maybe they'll, you'll be able to like report your results online and they'll say, oh, the Empire still sucks. After that, there's just something about Hulkbuster and Ms. Marvel, blah, blah, blah. 10 a.m. plus another hour, 11 a.m. Pacific time, is Star Wars Legion with the subtitle Into the Underworld with the category Fresh Coats. Is that like...
That's their painting panels.
So this... Because it says, step into the seedy underbelly of the Star Wars galaxy with creative director Dallas Kemp. In this stream, he walks through painting some of the unsavory characters with a surprise appearance or two. Okay, so it's just a painting panel with, I guess, maybe the bounty hunters, and it seems likely they'll maybe have some announcements there as well.
I mean, it could be like during the last MiniStravaganza, during one of their painting panels, they pulled out a super tactical droid and started painting it. Then this was before super tactical droids had been announced. So I'm assuming it's going to be something like that. The title is Into the Underworld, so is whatever gets announced going to be related to that too? Could be.
So at the very least, he's probably going to be painting Bosk, Boba, and Cad Bane, and that's kind of about it.
Yeah.
For the CD characters in Legion. So
with a surprise appearance or two.
Be very surprised if there wasn't some new product announcements.
Surprise appearances by Forlom.
Himself.
And his buddy.
He walks on and starts painting.
Actually, what we haven't gotten yet that will leave people even more scratching their heads. Do correct me if I'm wrong. We don't have an IG-88 yet, right?
Not for Legion.
No.
Right. So well, yeah, and that's why I was like, wait a minute. I'm probably just picturing the one from Imperial Assault, which is a fantastic sculpt in and of itself. But I imagine we'll get that, and then people will say, oh, well, what about IG-11? What about Mandalorian stuff?
Like we've been saying for a year and a half?
Yes, exactly. And that's what chat will be for the remaining hour until the next segment.
Let's put a pin in this for a second.
All right.
And jump ahead.
Everyone at home listening.
And jump ahead
grab a pin.
To 4 p.m. Pacific time.
Whoa!
What?
Time travel.
And which is when they're doing a Star Wars X-Wing panel, dev and design panel, subtitled "This is the Way." Says, join the development team as they chart what development team? They're all fired. As they chart what lies ahead for Star Wars X-Wing, including updates on points and a look at what you'll be flying in the future. Since I'm assuming we're going to be getting a look at the Razor Crest and maybe some other
What other
Mandalorian
ships from
ships.
that show could there be? There's the ship that shoots at him and goes, "I can bring you warm or cold," and he's like, "That's my line," and he kills him. There's that ship that. Um,
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
there's the Mandalorian ship, the Commer class or whatever you
Could
want
get
to call it.
an updated Boba Fett's starship.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We could get a rescaled Lambda class shuttle that's like TIE fighter width.
Oh yeah, since it can fit through
Oh.
that little
And
gap in the
like,
Architens.
yeah.
They could come out with more repaints of X-wings to give us the Dave Filoni pilot and the other directors' pilots.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't his character have some ridiculous name like Cub or Wolf or?
It's Seal Clubber.
Probably.
I
His name
swear
is-
his character's name is like something Wolf. I
It's
could be-
Trapper Wolf.
Trapper Wolf. I was close. Cubber.
Oh,
Covers is
I thought it
almost the
was.
same.
I thought it was Trapper John.
So anyway, since we are, it seems like getting some sort of Mandalorian information during the X-wing panel. You know, Mandalorian stuff is part of the underworld. Maybe we'll see something about the Mandalorian during the Legion stuff.
It seems so weird to me for Legion just because it's so out of the time scope. It's obviously not a big deal, and I'm sure they'll. But to me, it feels weird just because it's like too far in the future of the scope that in my head Legion exists in when you're playing with the Rebels or the Empire.
Yeah, but I mean, at some point, hopefully they're gonna release First Order and Resistance
The
as
other
well.
one.
And then at that point, you know, you're kind of got the whole time frame, and you know, maybe one day we'll get some like High Republic, just fancy.
Make
Jedi.
it like the old Wizards of the Coast Star Wars miniatures, where it was just literally everything. There was the oldest Old Republic characters to the farthest out. What was it called? Legacy with the
Yeah.
comics.
Legacy. Yeah.
Cade Skywalker. I think that was the farthest out that timeline went. There was those characters, just covered everything, and it was fine.
Yeah. I guess other possibilities, you know, some people have said, oh, maybe we'll finally get that scum faction that, like, really people who have bad ideas for games want. I wouldn't mind a small set of like neutral characters that you could, you know, like buy in to your, you know, any faction maybe, but I don't necessarily want a whole scum faction. Like I just don't think it fits.
Well, you don't have to buy it.
No, I would. But I
Stack. That's not the stack of a man who isn't compelled to buy everything.
Hey, look, it's now, well, with the exception of that one Darth Vader, it's now exactly even with the bookshelf.
Can you
It's actually I pulled a couple boxes out of it.
do you have a number 2
I mean, you might as well
pencil?
just take that Vader off of there.
Do I have a number 2 pencil?
Yes.
No.
Well, I'm suggesting you could leave
I mean,
tick marks on the
I've got-
tower
I've got
with
mechanical.
dates like you would measure your children's growth, but more importantly, we should measure the fluctuations in the height of the tower.
It sounds like a lot of work, man.
I feel like the tower is becoming a character on our show. Put big googly eyes on it.
Well,
If
I would say my final comment to Leo is that in a game with as few factions as Legion has currently, any way they can give more army options, faction options, the better. in my opinion, but who am I?
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
just
just
put this
I
out
just
and then
gave
we can
you
move
2
on.
more factions that could be in the game.
I think if
That have the
anybody,
exact same models.
No.
they'd be
Yes.
pretty different. You ever play Battlefront 2?
Mm, I've played lots of things.
All right, well
I was
then we
playing
should just
Star
we
Wars
should
before
just
you were
we should
born.
probably just cancel Republic since it's like the same fucking models too. All right, got it. All right, we're down to
All
3
right.
factions now.
That's fine. That's fine. I have no problem with that. You just paint them different
At least
colors.
he
Oh wait,
sticks
they're all
to
white.
his. I was gonna say if anybody out there has a means of accessing Leo's home after hours, it would be really funny to put the stack at the foot of his bed so he wakes up and sees it there, but doesn't know that it moved. Okay, what's next on the schedule? Tactical Rocks. Oh, that I thought you were joking when you said that was on the schedule.
Yeah, no, I was not joking when I said there's a panel called Tactical Rocks 101.
It's a panel
They use
about
tactical
custom basing.
explosions, not rocks.
They used to be rocks.
They got lots of tactical rocks or tactical girders, tactical bits of whatever. But yeah, it's a custom basing panel. That could be kind of pretty cool.
Okay, next Star Wars. Well, that night there's just like a hangout where you talk about what you're painting or whatever. Friday at 9 a.m. Fresh ro-
Nine,
not
nine,
fresh roll.
10. It's a great
11
day.
a.m. Boots on the ground gameplay. Developers Will Pagani and Michael Plummer square off in a game of Star Wars Legion featuring new units during this stream. Join them to get a look at the options coming to your armies in the future. I don't. It's unclear to me if that's like the Kashyyyk stuff coming out or as yet unannounced things.
I assume it's probably going to be the Kashyyyk stuff.
Will they be out by then?
Cause no.
I don't know. When
Oh, I was looking ahead because they are going to mention the Kashyyyk stuff specifically
On
a couple
painting
hours
panel.
from then. But
yeah, that's a painting.
right,
panel.
yes, that's what I was going to say. When you interrupted me.
Sorry.
That,
I'm sorry. I
it's
hope
tricky
this is
with
going to
the
be.
voice thing. To be
I hope
honest.
it's going to be better than what I've heard their last Legion stream was. So they 90% of their like their Twitch streams are painting hobby focused, which I think is cool. But I know a lot of like the Legion community had kind of been sad because we used to get streams of games from Luke and from Alex and stuff, and they usually use that as a way to show off some new units and things like that. And they haven't really done that with AMG. Well, they did do one here a week or so ago, maybe 2 now by this point. They did actually do a stream of a game. But from what I didn't watch it, but from what I've heard, a lot of people said it was kind of a mess. Like they didn't really know what they were doing. So and like they didn't really have much terrain and stuff. They did say that they didn't really have any terrain because they were packing up to move to a different studio at the time. But at any rate, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Like I said, I didn't watch their previous game, but from what I've heard and read, a lot of the community wasn't very impressed with their inaugural game.
The video is on YouTube as of 2 days ago.
Well, let's watch it and do live commentary.
Yep. All right. So. Yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
This video is
They're
going to be
taking the
way
field.
longer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Well, let's. We're assuming they'll be playing with the Kashyyyk units later that day. They're going over painting the Kashyyyk units. That's all the Star Wars stuff for Friday, Saturday.
Saturday, yes.
Oh, this sounds like the most important one
Yes.
of the weekend.
Yes, it's called Any Methods Necessary at 9 a.m. on Saturday. New directions in Star Wars Legion. Join Will Schick, Will Pagani, Dallas Kemp, and Michael Plummer as they take a look ahead at some new units for Star Wars Legion and discuss where the game is headed. Any methods necessary, like firing all the developers.
Sorry.
Yeah, I assume
That-
I mean, yeah.
If that was Jared Leto Joker, it was very good.
Thank you.
I wasn't sure if that's what you're going for, or if that was just your genuine reaction to
No, I mean it was, because that's the most annoying laugh in the known universe, and but yes,
I mean,
it was.
fits.
Thank
It's
you.
very much a we live in a society kind of moment. Any methods necessary? Okay, let's look ahead and new directions is. It sounds like a very. It almost sounds like they're trying to put a positive spin on the turmoil, I guess. Like, but any methods necessary does sound rather sinister. But it's if we go back and we think into the underworld, if they're talking about new units, I mean, any methods necessary is a. Isn't that an Empire quote? Even though from Vader,
By
Yeah.
any methods
Yeah, when
necessary.
he's
Except-
telling them to bring in
no disintegrations. So okay, not any method necessary, but most methods necessary.
Yeah.
So
9 out of 10.
So I mean, my joke about like Forlom could be true. Maybe we will get to see Forlom, Zuckuss, IG-88.
Yeah.
Don't forget Denny.
Oh, right, I guess him too.
You're gonna take a dirt nap.
And that that toilet paper man. He always
You're
looks
not
like
getting money on a school for picking
like,
a toilet.
he always looks like, when it's like Halloween and it's all like, I don't have a costume, and your mom's like, we'll wrap you in some toilet paper. Now you're a mummy. Or Dengar. Either one. You can be both.
Either one. What
Oh,
do
we
you
don't have
want?
enough to give you the full mummy. Here, I cut this garbage pail. Hold this to your chest. Now you're Dengar. So I feel like that will probably be the most enlightening or interesting or controversial moment of the thing.
Yeah. I don't necessarily see it being controversial.
Unless they're like, hey, remember that time we fired Luke?
Yeah.
Yeah, if the name of the event was "No Disintegrations" with the subtitle of "How to Fire Your Team Leads,"
Yeah, I'm
I
sure
mean that might be
But-
a little on the
but yeah.
nose.
I guess I was just gonna say I don't see it being too controversial because, like we said before, I mean this is all still stuff that was designed by at the very least Luke, possibly still Alex too. I mean, like from what former employees have said, like this whole Kashyyyk wave was basically all designed by Alex. I mean, even though he's been gone for quite a while now. So, I mean, we've still got at least, a year or so before it's, we stop seeing
Hey,
Luke and
yeah.
Alex stuff. I mean, that being said, I mean, who knows? I mean, they could drop some kind of weird bomb in here.
It's probably just going to be them talking about announcements and what that means for the game. If, like you said, it is some sort of weird new faction that's like new directions in Star Wars Legion. Like when that happened to X-Wing, that was a big thing that shook things up. I mean, that
Yeah.
where the game is headed, like that, just given like the current, like what we've talked about on the show, saying like new directions and where the game is headed makes it us
You know,
immediately think like, oh, they're about to say Legion is taking this huge turn, but it's probably just going to be them
it's
having a
you know
nice
what.
time talking about the new stuff.
Well, that and there's probably going to be points in errata to points changes and stuff because
Oh,
they did
yeah.
say that they are going to be announcing points changes during MiniStravaganza. Um, so this seems like the most likely panel where that will get released. So it's probably
It'll probably
in all
be.
reality more stuff like that. Plus, like we said, some previews of some new units and stuff like that.
It's going to be a preview of the Star Wars pages on the website.
There's never going to be any Star Wars pages on the website.
Yep.
Yeah, like, so if you're watching this, you get to know. Sometime soon I'm gonna be unveiling a website that makes the rules reference guide for Legion more easily searchable while you're actually playing a game instead of having to dig through the PDF. Uh, so stay tuned to JodoCast for whenever that comes out. But I was going to link to the wherever the rules reference guide is hosted on there because not everything from the PDF is on the website I made. Um, there's I didn't want to link to Fantasy Flight's website, which is where the latest version currently is, because presumably the next time it gets updated, that's not going to be there. They put out those new single
Well,
like pager, and that is on its own page. There's no like place on the Atomic Mass Games website where the rules reference guide can be found for a game they produce. You can't find the official rules documents for that game. You still have to go to Fantasy Flight for it.
it's
So
weird. I don't.
do that. That'd be cool.
Um, so that's at 9 Pacific. Uh, the next Star Wars related panel. Although at 10:30 there's going to be a painting one on painting magical effects, which I actually might watch because that actually sounds kind of cool.
Gonna be a lot of object source lighting. You're gonna hate it.
Probably, but at 11:30 though Pacific is the Roger painting droids panel with Dallas Kemp and
Not a single person named Roger on the stream.
That's
ridiculous.
failure.
Need more Roger representation.
Yes, and then let's see, 3:30 Pacific on Saturday. They're gonna have a Darth Maul painting panel. Could be neat to see that. I'd be curious to see what methods he uses to tackle the tattoos.
I feel like a lot of people have a lot of different ways to go about Maul.
Let's see, and then that's really it. I mean, for Star Wars stuff, you know.
Oh, they'll
Obviously
announce the
obviously
results
no-
of the global campaign.
Oh, right, yeah.
Not that it'll matter, but there
Um,
you go.
yeah, I mean, obviously no Armada panels because
It could matter
they
for
are not doing anything with Armada. Just bullshit.
Time to buy Armada, people. Buy.
sell. Dead game. No one will play it ever again. People only play games that are currently getting new things released for them. Once that's done,
Yeah, like me.
That's why Imperial Assault doesn't continue to be a really good seller.
I don't remember what I was going to say. Oh, I was going to say they could. I don't know what their. You were rolling your eyes at the global events not having any, like, they don't matter. Like, I think we had talked about in the narrative wargaming, where some companies do things where these types of events shape the lore of the game you're playing. Where they're like, oh, all of this faction's people won, so this faction in the story of the lore in the world, this guy got steroids. No, whatever. I feel like they could do that in Marvel because like every type you put a Marvel character anywhere, it's just your own version of the story. You know, there's a million different
Yeah.
cartoons and just so many different Marvel universes. Why not just have the Crisis Protocol universe and then they can have their own little overarching campaign story, which would be neat. But just saying, it's only
And
they could, and you don't have to roll your eyes quite as hard, just only a little bit.
okay, I tried. They only roll one speed. Oh, there goes Joe. Anyways, I'll tell Leo. So, something that L5R did, besides having major tournaments. Oh, now Joe's back. Now I gotta start all over again.
No, I
No.
heard enough.
Okay. So something else that Legend of the Five Rings did with the major tournaments, besides
Shang-Chi?
allowing...
Oh, that's 10 rings.
Oh, yes. Hey, a couple days. Besides altering the narrative, they would also alter how how factions could perform, and some abilities, some cards would only become unlocked based on what a clan's status was. So they could find means of having global campaign winners dictate not necessarily even the story, because obviously with Star Wars, the story is the story as it is, but they could allow for different factions to have different bonuses in official play, or access to certain things. It doesn't have to be story, and that would be use it or don't use it, which is kind of how they did it last year for the weekend events.
Yeah.
Because as of right now, we still don't even have any organized play at all,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
We've been being told by our store that they've been getting told by their distributor that they've been getting told that they will have a new kit, which hasn't shown up for months. So, I mean, it's not surprising, but we've been told that by the store that they were told that they were getting one. So just
Yeah,
I don't know who's saying this, but it's
I'm
annoying to be told that
curious.
there'll be a kit and then not to have one. Just
I'm
tell me it
curious
doesn't
what
work.
it's gonna have. If it's just gonna have like, if it's gonna be like a rules sheet for like a scenario and stuff. Because I mean that kind of sounds like that's about all the like, all the like the Marvel Crisis Protocol OP kits are.
Well,
They're
they don't
not
have any.
like they're not like they don't have do like like alt art cards and things like that. So as like prizes
Seriously?
and things like that. Yeah. From what
Oh my
I understand, I could be totally wrong, but that's how I understand it. So I'm
That's
not. I don't know. I'm kind of
maybe that's why it's slow
apprehensive
on.
now about how OP is gonna be. Um,
Yeah,
like
I feel like the X-wing and Legion crowds are not going to take it well if there's no cards and tokens going forward.
yeah. Well, I also feel like, well, at least with Marvel Crisis Protocol, that it seems like they are going for more of a casual, like, they're going for more of like a narrative type gamer and stuff rather than like a competitive type.
And I think
Whereas
the
like,
game
yeah, like up
lends
till
it.
now, Legion and X-wing have both kind of been trying to court the competitive gamer a bit more. That's not to say that there's not a ton of casual people who play the game too. I'm just saying like the organized play side of things kind of tries to court more of the competitive gamer.
On X-wing, especially. I mean, of all the FFG competitive games, X-wing is the math hammer of them all.
Yeah, that's why I kind of stopped playing X-Wing for a while, because the community here was too
Yeah.
hardcore. Like, no.
That's serious business.
You've even got
Playing X-wing.
even Legion. You've got a pretty hardcore community down in, at least not necessarily in Phoenix, or I mean in Tucson, but I
Yeah,
know there's a quite a few fairly hardcore people down in Phoenix.
Tucson crowd is fine.
Fine. What even is the meta these days? Is there a meta?
In
I don't know.
AA5.
Legion. Oh, the AA5, is it? Okay. Whoever has the coolest Winnebago is the winner.
The only consensus I seem to think is that the Empire is not worth playing from a competitive standpoint. Is the word on the street.
Wow.
Yes and no. I mean, I think the general consensus is that Empire is the weakest faction at the moment, but at the same time, at the, was it the Dallas Open, or that there's where they had a tournament fairly recently. I know a Vader Dewback list took second place, so yeah. Um, it was a crazy list, and it's not like there wasn't, like, there was like a, looking at the list of participants, there was some recognizable high level players there, so it's not like it was just like, I mean, because sometimes you'll get that too, where a person's like, you're like, you could be like, okay, the Empire sucks, and some guys are like, I dominate everybody in my store with my Empire list. You don't know what you're talking about, and it's not like, well, maybe everybody else in your store sucks too, you know. But I mean, this was a fairly well attended tournament with some high level players in it too. So
I mean, that's fair. I mean, we don't have a ton of data to look at, like well published data to look at.
I mean, there's a lot of data with Invader League and Tabletop Simulator. I mean, all throughout the pandemic, they were still running Invader League tournaments on there. But even there, I mean, there's arguments that people make about, the, Tabletop Simulator tables versus real life tables and stuff like that, and playing on there is never quite the same as playing in real life, frankly. So
well, I'm since I'm cautiously optimistic for MiniStravaganza, unless you're into Armada.
I don't know. I'm still having a hard time feeling too optimistic about things after the Luke and
in general,
well, yeah, just in general, I have a hard time being optimistic, but no, about the games, with the Luke Eddy and then the Armada announcement where they're stopping development on that. I like we said before, though, I mean, I don't think Legion is really going anywhere, and I mean, games like this change developers. It's not totally unusual. I mean, X-Wing has gone through a whole host of them in its lifetime.
That's certainly true.
But
that's an extremely valid point.
But at the same time, I mean, previously when they were changing out developers, they were all still members of sort of like the same company and kind of the same culture. And when you're developing games a bunch at the at the same company and stuff, there's sort of like a style, like I think you could say that there's definitely a style to Fantasy Flight games where you could sort of play them and be like, yes, this is definitely a Fantasy Flight game I'm playing. And whether now that Atomic Mass is Fantasy Flightless, will they still be able to, as time goes on, kind of keep that same feel? Are things gonna like slowly change? Are we gonna see a drastic change when it comes to the AMG waves? I don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah, the only other parallel that I've been able to think of is when TSR, the former producers of Dungeons and Dragons, moved from Milwaukee to Seattle, but they brought a lot of their people with them, and there was a very uh, amicable changeover, from what I understood. The change from second edition to third edition was pretty big, and lots of people would say that was when they stopped buying new D&D books. So we may see something similar where there are people who refuse to buy any more at a certain, not saying this is the point, but there may be a point. But then there'll be people who will carry on to buy whatever they release and continue to enjoy those things for what they're worth.
But yeah, as far as MiniStravaganza goes, though, I am excited to hear about upcoming releases. Like I said, the whole underworld kind of theme that they seem to be going with their panel subtitles kind of gets me hopeful that I'll be able to put my boy Forlam on the table.
It's actually going to be based on all of the scripts of the Underworld TV show.
Oh,
Oh, really? All right.
They're going to be basically
And then,
reviving that show in tabletop form.
And then for the next MiniStravaganza, it's going to be all Detours stuff.
Yeah. Can't wait to see those sculpts on the table.
Oh, no. And that's when, if that, you know what, I'm gonna ask for a blood pact right now. If the day ever comes when Star Detour stuff does hit the tabletop from these guys, we're gonna set a fire and burn it to the ground, and then start a Star Trek podcast.
Stargate. I'm rewatching it with just Stargate right now.
We could just have a Star podcast. Trekgate, Wars.
Starcast.
Any other good stars?
Starman, Stargirl, Star
Yeah.
Crash,
Star Lord,
Star-Lord,
Stark Industries.
Yeah. Stark Raft.
Yeah, StarCraft.
Hey, they're not doing anything with the IP right now.
Oh.
We'll take it off their hands.
I'm gonna go to Google. I'm gonna type in Star.
Just wait until Activision sells off that IP.
There's the Star Tribune. I think that's a
Minneapolis newspaper.
There's the Indie Star.
Star Citizen.
Oh yeah,
Star City.
Let's just have this podcast where we just shit on Star Citizen for like an hour.
I can do that. Your moment of zen.
Starbucks.
Ooh, I'll talk about that.
How inferior it is to Caribou.
It really is.
There's a Star Pass Resort in Tucson. We can have our annual Star Con there.
Yeah.
We can do some Mario stuff. There's a lot of like stars.
Oh,
They're a
yeah.
big thing in there.
Oh, Stars from Resident Evil.
Stars, the premium movie channel.
There you go.
That's a lot of. We got a lot of content here. We can open it wide up.
The former Minnesota hockey team, the North Stars, who got sent as far south as they possibly could. Texas.
Yes.
Yes. Joe gave me the look of, I do not know what you're talking about. Like if we mentioned Bravari.
Star versus the Forces of Evil.
There you go. I've heard that's good.
I think we're getting really off track.
It's entirely possible.
And now
That's
you
all
all
of
know,
the stars in the rest of
MiniStravaganza.
the story.
Yes.
MiniStravaganza.
Yeah, so that is
yeah. Just
in case anyone is not in the know, that is the weekend of September 9th, 10th, and 11th. September 9th is a Thursday, September 10th is a Friday. Send me all your presents.
Which is also Gen Con weekend, right?
It is not.
No. When is Gen Con
They
weekend?
changed it. The following weekend.
Oh. Because it was originally supposed to coincide with Gen Con, wasn't it not?
You are correct. Yes, you are correct.
Speaking of Gen Con, they're having like little mini, like Fantasy Flight's having some little mini gaming tournaments during Gen Con at the Game Center.
You gonna be our on-site reporter?
No.
Aw.
That's Leo with the press
like
here.
my anniversary weekend, so.
Yes, it is. You are correct. And there's no Irish Fest this year, so that sucks.
That's MiniStravaganza and what to expect. Tell us if you are optimistic or terrified of this event. Those are the only two possible options of how you could feel about this event. Let us know what you think is going to happen. What do you think Into the Underworld means?
Yes. Let us know what units you think are going to get announced and why you think they're Forlom.
Yes. And just as one of our patrons joins us to listen in live, we will say goodnight. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and see you at MiniStravaganza.
Bye.